Hey guys, we're really excited to be here with you to share with you something that we've been working on now for quite a while. So today we are cohome, and cohome is the nation's first dedicated co-living operator of its kind. We focus on lettings and management of shared houses with a primary focus on the service that we provide our customers, the tenant. That's not to say that we don't have great houses. In fact, let's start with a short clip which features one of our cohomes.
Thanks, Matt, and welcome to you all. I hope you've had a great day at Reconnect. It has been a day filled with incredible content. And for me, that advert really captures the essence of what our mission at cohome is. Great, perfectly maintained homes, intentional community and real connections. My name is Dan Jackson, and I am the founder of Urban Shared, and we are a co-living business based in Southwest London. My role at cohome is to oversee customer experience. And I'm joined today by Matt Baker, who is co-founder of Scott Baker Properties and the HMO platform. Matt's role at cohome is business development. And we are also joined today by Leah Ziliak, who is a co-living expert and is working with cohome to design and build a world-class end-to-end customer experience. So who is this presentation for? Well, this presentation is for landlords, developers and investors in the HMO or shared house market who not only recognise the need for world-class property management, but who also understand that how by implementing a co-living approach, they can improve the value of their investment. In essence, great shared homes need great management, and we will explain during the course of this presentation why cohome is the management solution that you need. So I'm going to hand over to Matt now, who will explain a little more about the team behind cohome.
Thanks, Dan. So the team at cohome, this is not our first rodeo. This is not our first experience in property at all. In fact, we are a group of property professionals that have come together to provide a solution where we saw there is a massive problem. So together, combined, we've already operating a shared living portfolio, turning over £1.40 million, which is worth almost £23 million in value. Now, those 204 units can be found across 4 cities, and together we've actually got a combined experience of over 33 years in this industry. Now, one thing which we're very excited about is about growing our business. And by being able to operate in multiple cities, by the end of 2022, we shall be operating in 15 cities or more. We're also recognised as industry experts. We've been seen in multiple industry magazines, as industry press like YPN, HMO Magazine, Co-Living Insights. We co-founded the Shared Living Survey as well. And 2 of our team are part of the executive team at CoLive. And we've also been interviewed on multiple podcasts, the most notable of which is Inside Property Investing. So Dan, I think, is going to share with us now everything about why are we looking at co-living.
Thanks, Matt. I mean, today has been all about co-living, and there have been some really great presentations. I know that both Matt and Leah have provided some great insight earlier. And if you missed those presentations, head over to the Reconnect platform and you should be able to see those recordings. but I wanted to pick out a couple of pertinent points. There is a global shortage of quality, affordable shared accommodation. So there is still a lack of supply. And yet by 2025, according to PwC, 3/4 of 22 to 39-year-olds will be renting, and 85% of this demographic will share with others. So this means that demand is increasing. Right now, we estimate there are 2.9 million shared homes in the UK. But how many of those do you think are actually being run as co-living, where the customer is constantly being delighted by the level of service that they're receiving? You know, my guess would be not many. For cohome and our clients, this represents a huge opportunity. So just on the next slide. So really just to reiterate, you know, co-living will take your shared home to the next level. There is also now a significant institutional money flow into co-living, validating it as a mainstream asset class, which will lead to increased values. And co-living, when done well, is a great solution for the well-being of the housemate. And we really believe in the power of small gatherings, which is why we are focused on the smaller co-living solutions. You know, co-living really is the future, not just in the UK, but also in Europe, the US, and Asia. So I'm going to hand back now to Matt, who will discuss more about the problems that landlords, developers, and investors face, and how cohome will solve that problem.
Cheers, Dan. So the problem is actually quite a large one, because an industry survey has shown that over 75% of tenants leave their shared homes due to bad management. So what is leading them to leave? What are their main concerns? Well, as an investor, developer, and landlord myself, I see it firsthand. I speak with multiple friends and colleagues who also experience similar problems. And the main things that we hear are as follows. The first one of those is how well is that property being looked after itself? The property maintenance and property management is something which should be taken care of as standard. It shouldn't be something which you as the landlord needs to worry about. But I often hear stories about properties which have been left to fall into disrepair without the landlord even knowing about it. That's going to lead to tenant dissatisfaction, it's going to lead to them moving out and turning over a lot more, which at the end of the day is going to affect your bottom line. Great property management should be standard. Moving on to problem 2, poor communication. If your property is not being looked after and you don't know about it, it means that communication has broken down. Whether that communication is verbal, over the phone, or written through email or reports, how often are you getting that communication and what is the quality of that information? Poor communication can lead to many, many problems. It can lead to stress and worry on your side by not knowing what's happening, and can lead to customer dissatisfaction and essentially your tenants leaving because issues are not being resolved and they feel like they're not being heard. So poor communication is a problem that we must solve. And finally, all of these issues will compound to affect your bottom line. It will lead to inconsistent profit as tenants are constantly moving in and moving out. You're going to receive unexpected bills and unexpected maintenance through the poor property management, which is ultimately going to affect the value of your property long term. You've also probably invested in this property or the properties that you have. You've created what you believe is a great product and assumed that you're going to get rents that you've predicted on day one, and that these rents will continue moving into the future. And actually, you may well be disappointed with the lower yields that you get compared to what you thought you were going to get. And fundamentally, these 3 problems will combine and compound to affect you and your time. You're going to be unnecessarily stressed and unnecessarily worrying about your portfolio. Your time is taken up getting involved with your portfolio, something which you think you're already paying for in the management your agent is doing. There's a reason why you got into property investment in the first place, and there's a reason why you became a landlord. And one of them is probably not to create yourself a new job dealing with these day-to-day problems and the day-to-day management of property. So, what is the solution? And how do we solve these problems? Well, that first one of poor property management and maintenance, we solve like this. So when we work with properties, we treat them like you would treat your own health. You'd much prefer to know about issues with your own body, your own health, well before they happen so that you can do something about them. And we take that same approach with our co-homes. Whenever a new property comes to us, as part of that onboarding process, it gets a health check. And from that health check, we create a proactive maintenance schedule so you know exactly what's going to happen within your property and when. It is costed and budgeted to dramatically reduce the amount of unexpected bills. By doing this, it will retain the value of your property and, in fact, allow it to grow and increase over time as your property will have fewer issues. Over the long run, a proactive maintenance approach will cost you less in real terms. Now, the second problem that we talked about was poor communication. Now, at Cohome, we have two of our founders who are also the founders of Coho, who are the channel partners for this event today. Coho is a leading tech company in the management of HMOs, co-living and shared houses. So with these guys on our team, Van and John, we can provide an industry-leading service when it comes to creating bespoke tech to solve the problems that we find. Using this tech-driven approach allows us to have a robust communication system to maximize the flow of information between all parties. By looking after the property and by communicating well with all parties, this is going to lead to a better customer experience for all involved. Now, when you and your tenants receive that better customer experience, it enables you to have trust with your agent, to be informed, and therefore get that time back to choose to do what is important to you. Now, for now, I'm going to hand over to Leah, who's going to focus on what is the most important part of our business, is that better and unique customer experience.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. So today I'm going to talk a short bit about why customer experience is so important in the world of co-living. You know, at Cohome, our focus is on community and creating customer-centric experiences throughout the entire user journey. You know, there's so much value in shared living, as you've heard today. It's about so much more than just having a roommate. You know, it is an experience in itself. And if it's done really well, it's an experience that's hard to leave. You know, when you've found yourself in this strong community in a comfortable space and supported by a team of people who are there to make sure that you have this great living experience, it turns into something that's hard to walk away from. So focusing on resident happiness at each stage of the journey is not only more fun, we think, but it makes a lot more sense from a financial perspective as well, because it is far more expensive to attract new residents than it is to retain the ones you already have. So by focusing on enhancing the customer experience, you're getting higher retention rates. You are getting housemates that respect and take better care of your space because they feel respected and taken care of. You're getting housemates that leave good reviews and that tell all their friends. And because of that, you know, people start coming to you wanting to be part of your community. So by providing more value in the form of some of these intangibles like great service, it creates a better, stronger, more resilient product as well. You know, a more enjoyable business all around because you get to enhance people's lives. There's just so much value in providing great customer service. So at Cohome, our focus is on providing that same level of superior customer service from the time they first hear about the space to the time they leave through things like a personalized onboarding system, a responsive team, tech solutions, community events, social opportunities, standardized house cleanings, easy ways to report and track maintenance issues, and offboarding system, things like this. Whereas with a traditional rental property, you know, a resident moves in and that's kind of the end of the story as far as the level of service goes. But with co-living, you are elevating the experience and sticking with them throughout the journey, adding value every step of the way. So you have the seamless, consistently great experience for each and every person. You know, we truly believe that focusing on the customer experience benefits everyone. You know, it's an advantage for the business and it allows for a more fulfilling, positive living experience for the housemates, which is what co-living is all about here. It's kind of a win-win situation. So yeah, I will throw it back to Dan, who's going to talk about the people behind Cohome.
Thank you, Leah. Yeah, so I just really wanted to share with you a little more about the people behind Cohome and why we're doing what we're doing. Back in March 2020, I got a call from Van and he wanted to chat about urban shared. You know, as we dug deeper, it became obvious that we were essentially working on the same problem, but from different angles. And whilst Van's mission was in making property management better, My mission was in making the housemate experience better. We agreed that this was a huge undertaking, and Van had explained that he was having similar conversations with other like-minded people in the property world. And this slide shows some of those people. Matt, if we take a look at the next slide, we are also extremely fortunate to be able to leverage the knowledge and expertise of Leah and Kat. Leah brings huge experience from the world of hospitality, and Kat, who is head of ambassadors at Coliv and mayor for Startup Home, brings significant operational and strategic insight. I think we've assembled an incredible group, from landlords and investors and developers to operators, technologists, co-living experts, and customer experience specialists. This really is a formidable team. So I'll hand back to Matt now, who is going to discuss more about the opportunity.
Cheers, Dan. Now, how does cohome work? Well, there are two opportunities within cohome to get involved, and we operate in two different ways. The first is through the management of co-living HMOs, houses of multiple occupation. And we operate in an all-inclusive basis. So apart from the maintenance, the management is all-inclusive in a 12% fee. Community management is standard, with reduced tenant issues as a knock-on effect of that. We include the proactive maintenance schedule, as I mentioned earlier, and those fees are broken down into 12% of the existing rent and then 50% of an uplifted rent. And I'll come back and share an example of what that looks like in a moment. Now, the second opportunity is what we call a master leasing solution. It's for those people who want a more of a hands-off experience while still getting that co-living experience for the housemates in their property. So master leasing is a guaranteed lease payment where we have community management as standard. That's still part of the package, which results in there being no tenant issues for you, because that's what then we as cohome would deal with the process of dealing with the tenants and the housemates. So the proactive maintenance schedule still included as standard. This is a hands-off, risk-free solution, which essentially will result in no voids from your perspective as the owner of the property. So coming back to the management, and what does that split fee look like? Well, let's take an example. Let's say that you have a property where the rooms in that property rent for £500 per month, and that is the average rent that you can achieve for that property in that area. Now, if cohome was managing that and that was the rent, then we'd be charging 12%. You may have another agent which is charging you thereabouts or more, and that would be the 12% of the £500, meaning that cash in your pocket is £440 per month for that room. Now, let's take a look for what happens after cohome has got involved. So based on Spare Room's national average data, we know that if you take the average rent in an area and then you look at the maximum achievable rent in that area, there's over a 20% difference. In fact, it's 23.1% increase from the average to the maximum achievable in an area. And so let's say that £500 that you had on day one, we believe at cohome that we can uplift that by let's say 20%. So that becomes £600. Now, what we're going to do is we will charge the 12% on that original £500, meaning that would be the same. And then the uplift from the 5 to the 600 is split between you and us, meaning that cash in your pocket is now £490 a month compared to the £440 that was there before. So if we put that in real terms, the management fees before cohome were involved were 12% in that example. And then in that example, by uplifting the rent, if you base it on the £500 that you were getting before, our management fee has actually decreased, or the equivalent fee is decreased to just 2%. So I think that is pretty darn good. So handing back to Dan now, who's going to tell you and show you how you can get involved.
Thanks, Matt. I really like that last slide. I think it's a very, very compelling offer. And, I hope that you can see how excited we all are to be part of cohome and what a huge opportunity that this is. We all sincerely believe that this will be a game changer for existing landlords, developers, and investors who are unhappy with their current management solution or who want to take their business to the next level. We are expecting significant interest in our offering, and we do only want to work with those who share our vision and values and are working on building world-class shared living solutions themselves. So if that is you and you are interested in learning more about our offer, please head over to Make Mine a Cohome and join the waiting list. And one of our team will get back to you as soon as possible. Over to you, Matt.
Well, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Leah. Thank you both for your insights today. And to wrap us up, Dan mentioned about working with those who share our vision and values. And I just want to leave you with our vision for cohome, which is to create meaningful connections and memorable experiences by providing inspiring co-living homes around the world. Thank you so much for listening.